Motivation. It's a term that often comes up in conversations about success, productivity, and personal growth. We've been taught to believe that motivation is the driving force behind accomplishing great things. But have you ever wondered why motivation can feel so elusive at times? Why it seems to vanish when you need it the most? Today, we're going to uncover the truth about motivation and why it's time to reconsider how much we rely on it. To begin with, let's explore what motivation really is. By definition, motivation is the process that initiates, guides, and maintains goal-oriented behaviors. It's what prompts you to act, whether obtaining a glass of water to reduce thirst or reading a book to gain knowledge. The desire for change characterizes motivation, and change is never a straightforward journey. This is where the issue lies. Motivation is closely tied to our emotions, which are inherently volatile. Consider this. How many New Year resolutions have been made in a fit of motivation only to be forgotten by February? This common scenario highlights one of the biggest pitfalls of relying solely on motivation, its notoriously fickle nature. Motivation is often seen like a spark, a sudden burst of energy that propels us forward. But what happens once that spark fizzles out? One reason motivation doesn't last is due to our brain's inclination for immediate reward. When we start a new project, excitement and motivation are at their peak because our brains appreciate novelty. However, as the task becomes routine, motivation dwindles, and without a steady supply of instant gratification, the initial eagerness fades. This phenomenon is linked to what psychologists call the hedonic treadmill, the tendency of humans to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major positive or negative events or life changes. Another aspect to consider is the pressure and stress that come when motivation is absent. Since motivation is often glorified, a lack of it can lead to self-doubt and guilt. We start questioning our ambitions, our capabilities, and this self-criticism only serves to create a less productive environment. It's a vicious cycle. Waiting for motivation leads to inaction, which then leads to frustration and a decreased sense of worth. So, if motivation cannot be relied upon, where does that leave us? Fortunately, there are more dependable alternatives. First and foremost, there is discipline. While motivation is an emotional and often fleeting experience, discipline is a skill, a system you can develop over time. Discipline means doing what needs to be done regardless of whether you feel like it or not. Unlike motivation, discipline doesn't require emotional energy, which makes it sustainable and effective in the long run. Think of it like a marathon rather than a sprint. Alongside discipline, another powerful tool is the art of habit building. When you create habits, you transform desired actions into your default responses. Habits reduce the mental energy required to perform tasks, making productivity less draining and much more automatic. Charles Duhigg, author of The Power of Habit, explains that habits emerge because the brain is constantly looking for ways to save effort. If a habit is formed, the brain doesn't need to weigh decisions or expend energy. It simply follows the established routine. To foster discipline and habits effectively, one must also be strategic with goals. Instead of setting large, ambiguous objectives that require perpetual motivation, break them into smaller, achievable tasks. This way, each small accomplishment fuels the next step, creating a loop of positive reinforcement. Celebrating these small victories is vital. They provide a sense of achievement and application of discipline in real time. In conclusion, while motivation can indeed be the spark that ignites the pursuit of goals, it's not a reliable fuel for the journey. Instead, we must lean on discipline and the formation of consistent habits. By shifting our reliance from motivation to more stable methods, we ensure a steady progression toward our aspirations. In the grand tapestry of personal development, motivation may be the colorful splash of inspiration, but discipline and habits are the threads that weave together a masterpiece of sustained efforts and achievements. It's time to reshape our narrative, understanding that real progress requires more than just a spark of motivation. It demands a consistent, intentional pursuit, paving the path for true and lasting change.